All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 5, season 2, the Mike Wilson Show at Carollo's Corner. And it's all about sports.com and it's all about scores.com. Mike, how you doing this evening?
Doing very well. How about yourself, Joe?
Doing good, doing good. Glad to be here for another episode. Uh, Tough loss last week, the Highland. Want to take a minute and go over that game? Tell us some pros, cons, and anything else.
Well, again, I mean, it's something where after you get 24 hours removed, you watch the film again, there's progress being made. I mean, when you watch that game, you saw it, broke it down. We were only down 7-0 in the first quarter. We block a punt. The second, we could make it 7-7. We don't. We hold on. Defense played very well until we ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. We suffered a few low-key injuries, and we had kids playing both ways that were rotating earlier in the game. I mean, we had Highland under 100 yards rushing all game until they popped one big run at the end when we totally just ran out of gas.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
So, I mean, again, like we had our chances and we're still learning to seize those opportunities. But like in the grand scheme of things, we're playing better football. It's just not showing up at the scoreboard just yet. So we just got to keep grinding away and just keep getting better.
Yes, I noticed when I was watching the film on Sunday, you guys had a couple blocks. There was a punt block, an extra point block,
Yeah.
and a couple of good passes. So there was definitely signs of life. I liked what I saw in some of those plays.
Well, I think it's like the theme every week we talk. It's about consistency. It's about doing those things over and over again. And again, there's flashes. But again,
Yeah.
I mean, I counted today. There's 7 14-year-olds starting varsity football right now, followed by another 8 sophomores. I mean, we only have one senior playing and a handful of juniors. So, like, again, it's hard to play varsity football, but they're doing a good job. They show up every day. They work hard. They're learning how to practice. So, like, the future's bright. It's just about keeping the kids to understand that we got to keep grinding away.
All right, moving on. This week, Violent coming up, the Fighting Clan. If you want to tell us a little bit about Vineland this year, I don't know a whole lot about their team this year. I do know, however, on a comical note, they have the most awesome mascot in the Rowdy Rooster.
Yes. Oh, 100%. I mean, being familiar with Vineland from the Cape, they're athletic. They got some size. Their skill positions can make plays. But I think overall we match up with them. But again, we got to go out and play a clean game. We got to capitalize on any opportunities they do give us. And if we do that, I think it'll be it. We're playing closer football games. Can we play a full 48 minutes? But again, like it's going to be a great game Friday night. We just got to come out and
specifically, compete. I know we're talking about consistency. Specifically, what could you guys do to hang with this team or even defeat them? Like, what will it take other than anything special? Like,
so when I'm speaking of consistency, Joe, so what I'm talking about is like offense, like multiple first downs in a row. All right, we got one good pass followed up by a run, and we made a really big emphasis this week. We got to run the football much better, and again, we got to move the clock, move the ball, and those types of things like that. So, like, we got to do those things. That's what we talk about consistency. It's like on offense, move the ball consistently. Even if you end up punting, get a couple first downs before you punt.
Right.
Defensively, get off the field when it's 30-35. Make them punt more often. That's the consistency I'm talking about, is putting strings of plays together, especially in offense. We got to move the ball much better.
Exactly. Yeah, again, on a bright note, I noticed there were more highlights in this past game than there were the other three. So, again, it may not be showing it on the record book or on the scoreboard, but if you're watching the film like we are, we noticed those little flashes of light, which...
Well, I was telling somebody today about it, like, again, losing is unacceptable. You got to find a way to win, and we coach to win every game. But 24 hours after we're moved, I'm doing my stats on Sunday like you're doing the highlight, and you look at it in small doses and going, we are getting better. And got to keep that in perspective. But every week we go out and we coach to win football games. So that's what we're going to do Friday night.
Right. Awesome. Going into the rest of South Jersey this week, I think let's go back to last week for just a moment. We had some really big games. Some, I don't know if you want to call them a lot of upsets. It all depends who one believes is going to be a better team. You had Winslow and St. Augustine. That could have gone either way. I don't know if there was a favorite per se. Winslow.
No.
But eventually, flex their muscle, so to speak, with a 19-6 victory. St. Joe Wildcats. Looks like St. Joe football might just be back. 3-0, defeating Cumberland. A big one coming up against your alma mater this week, Lower Cape May.
Yes.
Thoughts on that?
Well, again, I think Lower's what 3-1, I believe,
3-1, yes.
and you got St. Joe 3-0. So it's a good old Cape Atlantic League National Conference game like it was when I was in high school.
Yeah,
So again, I think you got both programs that were down last year. They're playing very well.
absolutely.
So again, it's great for both programs. I know Coach Damiano, Kate Maddy, stuff like that. He does a great job. So like, it's gonna be a good game. It's like I said, reminisces when I was in high school. Good old Cape Atlantic League National matchup.
Right. Yeah, another good one. Camden over Holy Spirit last week. That's shaking up Group Two a little. We have like 4 teams at the top of Group Two. That's Haddonfield, which defeated Seneca in a close one. You have Delran, who's 4-0, really hasn't been tested yet, which they will be this upcoming week against Burlington Township, which we'll get into in a minute. And you have West Deptford, who is annihilating people.
Group two's always been good, man. Group two is one of the best groups of football, in my opinion.
It is, no doubt. Pleasantville upsetting Paul VI might have been the biggest one of the week. Does this put Pleasantville in the mix for Group 3?
I think it does. I mean, I know Pleasantville had a coaching change at the beginning of the summer and things like that, and their schedule's murder row. So like again, I think you go up there and you beat Paul VI. There's a lot of good football players on that thing. So kudos to them. I think you got to put them in a mix.
Yeah. I talk about heading back into Group 3. Mainland rebounded nicely this week, defeating Cherokee 42-21. They have a big one coming up against St. Augustine tomorrow night.
Oh, I think it's going to be one of those games where, I mean, it can go either way. Again, I just like you said, I don't think any of these games were upsets because there's just good football teams on both sides of the field.
Yeah, it's proving that one. I mean, Mainland. I mean, probably going to get a heavy favorite. Mainland, if they can handle the size up front that St. Augustine has, they can make a game out of this, and anything is possible with John Franchini, Jake Blum.
Yes,
Chase
I agree.
And that high-powered offense that they have. But again, the prep, their line, I think their average lineman is close to 300 pounds or more, and they're physical. They're football players. They're not just big.
Well, and you're also playing them coming off a loss, which is never fun. So, but again, I don't count out mainly for the obvious reasons. We both know that. Yeah. I just think it's going to be a good game. It comes down to who makes that play when you need it.
All right, well, it's certainly going to be one to keep our eyes on. Getting back to Burlington Township, or Delran, rather, playing Burlington Township this week. I don't think either team has been tested this year. I think they're both 4-0. 1-0's got to go. I would say Burlington Township would be a noticeable favorite in this. But if and again, if you look at their scores, they're really dominating. Very similar to West Deptford. Delran has a chance this week to get in that conversation with a win here.
Yeah, again, not knowing much about each team. I know Coach Everett very well from Burlington Township, so I know he'll have his kids ready to play. Coach Everett does a great job wherever he's at. It's going to be a good game. We'll find out. But again, I think either team, not knowing much about them.
Yeah, game of the week, Rancocas Valley and Camden. It should be an interesting one. Both common denominator. Okay, RV defeated Shawnee in a very close game, 17-14 the other night. Well, I do believe they were dominant most of the game. You look back, okay, Shawnee beats Camden the week before.
It's hard. I call it newspaper math because football is so much about it's so much about a matchup thing. Who matchups better? Yeah. Like if it's a line play, skilled players, who does well. Like again, it's so tough. So I just expect another good game. Two well-coached teams.
Yeah, it should definitely be a good one. We have Millville visiting Winslow. Millville with their backs against the wall a little bit.
Yeah, and Winslow coming off a huge win. So again, that's a preview of probably a Group 4 playoff game. So we'll see.
Yeah, but like I said, Millville's the best 1-3 team in New Jersey.
Oh, I would think so. Yeah, and Winslow's only 2-2?
Winslow, 2-2. I mean, their two losses were to two powerhouses.
Exactly. So again, the records don't indicate how good
no, the records are not a good measuring stick here. Yeah. You have a couple Thanksgiving games this weekend. Shawnee Lenape, Oakcrest Absegami. I believe there's
gotta love them.
Rivalries, anything could happen there. Another good one is Eastern and Pennsauken, as both of them are trying to jockey for position in their respective groups. You have a battle for Cupford Boulevard, Collingswood, Haddon Township. Collingswood looking for a bit of revenge after last year's close game.
Yeah, again, it's a nice rivalry game. I know Coach Cohen, he's fired up, ready to go. So like, it's gonna be it's a good rivalry game. They like, where are they? 4 seconds from each other?
I think they're 6 minutes from each other.
Yeah, so there you go.
That's a neighborhood rivalry. That's what I love about high school football. Heading down the shore, you have Palmyra at Wildwood. You have two teams that are struggling, but Wildwood got on the board last week with a convincing win over Lindenwold. I think Palmyra is still trying to crack that win column. Could be an interesting one.
Again, small school football, man. You never know what was going to happen, especially you had to make that drive to Wildwood.
Yeah, it's a long one.
Yes, it is. We know that.
Another Thanksgiving game, Williamstown, Washington Township coming up. Washington Township is said to be the class of Group 5 this year, is what the word is.
They've been playing like it, so we'll see what happens.
All right. Yeah, that's about it. There's not a ton of marquee games this week. That's pretty much it. I want to wish you guys the best of luck. Anything else you want to add before your game against Vineland?
No, you know what? I was just thinking about you talking about all the rivalry weeks. I would like if we did something like college football does, like the WJFL marks it just a 1 week in the schedule that everybody plays a rival. That'd be pretty cool.
You're the second person that I talked to this week thought about that. Maybe this idea will catch some traction. Perhaps over the winter we can get in touch with the powers that be and run the idea by them. It really can't hurt. I mean, we're not asking them to change the schedules, just make these rivalries 1 week.
I think it would be cool from a newspaper standpoint, media standpoint. We're all playing our rivals. I think it'd be pretty cool. That's something I just thought about when you were talking about that.
Well, good. I'd like to cover that before we go. I talked to Coach Gushy from Shawnee this week.
Yes.
This week. Get an idea like, hey, obviously we're not playing Thanksgiving anymore, but make it week 8. Make it mean something. It would mean a lot more because we had gone over the history of the rivalry. Shawnee Lenape was as big as anything back in the day.
Yes.
I had asked him, I said, Tim, what about 15 years ago? He said it started to dwindle. It became different. And a lot of Thanksgiving rivalries have. That's why we don't have Thanksgiving games anymore, at least not a lot of them. So this might be a good idea. And then the ones
again, we've talked about that over the years. It's the playoffs are more emphasized.
Yeah.
So, but if you make it, like you said, a meaningful week, do what college does a week. Even look at pro football where you play those division games later in the year because they matter a lot. Yeah, so like something along those lines where you're playing, like I said, it's week 8 for everybody. It would matter. You're still playing for trophies. Everybody, like you're still doing. I don't know, just something I thought of.
Yeah, and I come up with some good ideas on this too, because you're gonna have some schools that still want to play Thanksgiving. Like, what do you do? Okay, Camden and Eastside. What do you do with them? And I thought about this. I'm like, okay, if Thanksgiving games were eliminated, you'd obviously have all of them week 8. However, okay, you still play your games on Thanksgiving. You put them against somebody who's another rival. For example, Mainland EHT could always be replaced. Although Mainland and EHT don't play Thanksgiving anymore, but you can have the Mainland Ocean City game that week.
Well, again, just look. We'll use Mainland as an example. Yeah. EHTs they're all Thanksgiving Day rival, but we know how intense Ocean City is.
Yeah.
So, like, if you were still playing on Thanksgiving, in a hypothetical, Ocean City would fit that role perfectly. Exactly. So, like, I think you look at schools, you could find that second rivalry game
easily. Easily. If not, you could always try to create one with neighbors. You have Hamilton and Cedar Creek, let's say. There's no history there, but the schools are a few minutes from one another. Neighboring communities where you have St. Joe's against Cedar Creek, literally on the same road.
Yeah, I think it's an idea with the new cycle coming up. Yeah. I mean, again, just me and you talking right now, but I think it'd be something interesting. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully somebody hears us. But I don't know, just something that just popped in my head.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And so I'd like to talk about on the show. We get into, other topics. Yeah. A lot of times we'll get repetitive. I think it's a phenomenal idea. Like I said, just gave you 2 more right there.
I like it. Let's do it.
You throw one at you, though. What if you're a team that you don't have that rivalry, like you're a Bridgeton or a Delsea or a Moorestown? What do you do with them?
Well, I mean, Bridgeton, they got Cumberland. They're 8 minutes from each other.
But instant. Cumberland has Shalleck, though.
True, but yeah, you know what? That's true.
Yeah. So what do? Or you bump Shalleck out? I don't think they're going to like that. That's a big rivalry. You know that.
No, I know that. No, you're right.
You have to just give them. And again, that would be at our Wildwood. Let's say there's no rivalry there because Lower Cape May plays middle. So there would be certain teams that this would not affect. There's always going to be.
Well, if you can get 85% of the rivalry games that weekend, it's still rivalry week. So. Exactly. Can't be perfect for everybody.
But my problem is, or not my problem, my fear is that one of these schools that don't have a rivalry are going to complain, we don't have a rivalry. Why do you have to do that? And I notice at times people cater to these 1 or 2 schools, and that bothers me a bit. We should.
Well, again, I think Nick Saban said it the best. You can't make everybody happy unless you sell ice cream. So, like,
Right.
you got to do what's best for the majority of the people.
Right. And which is what I hope they do. Hopefully somebody hears this. Hopefully, we'll maybe one of us could talk to somebody and
I mean, it's been mentioned before. I know I've heard the
it has.
rumblings in the past.
There'll be another one. I'm just trying to think of other teams. St. Augustine wouldn't have a rivalry. ACIT, a new school.
Well, St. Augustine used to play Bunin. Let's not forget that.
Well, that's not happening.
No,
Yeah.
but I know there was a rivalry there. That
Yeah.
was 20 years ago. But not happening now. But get St. Augustine to play part of 6.
Better one. Let's assume St. Joseph Hamilton gets put back on the map. St. Joe versus St. Augustine, week 8. I love it.
Yeah, well, that was a huge game not too long ago.
Going back a few years, it would have worked beautifully.
Yeah. So I think you can sit there and do it. I just like the idea of it. At least you get a majority of people playing that week.
Well,
so,
I'm going to do what I can. I don't know whose strings I have to try to pull, but I'll give it a shot. We'll talk.
I'll mention to anybody who will listen.
Exactly. Same here. Anybody's going to listen. Mike, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Again, Joe Carullo with Carullo's Corner. It's all about sports.com and it's all about scores.com. Mike, good luck Friday night, and we will see you on the show next week.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Have a great night, Mike.